day 4 of the Romford Film Festival 2025, and we have just had a short film session there, some kind of local films, which is one of my favourite sections of the festival this year. And we now have some cast and crew from some of those movies that we just showed. Do me a favour, can you make my life a hell of a lot easier? Go down the line and let me know who you are and what you did on the project.
My name is Mcilroy. I was writer and producer on Halfpenny Dip.
My name is AJ. I was the writer, director, producer of The Last Straw.
Hi, my name is Chirag, Gadhvi. I'm a DOP and editor for The Last Straw.
Hi, I'm Lauren Saliu, and I was the lead actress in The Last Straw. I played Sophie.
So, back in the day, there used to be these things called video shops. And in the video shop, you had 3 for 2 sections, and it always made for a great weekend. Unfortunately, we've got 4 people here, so we're going to do 4 for 2. Go down the line and pick a film that we're going to put in our perfect night in that it also inspired this movie that you guys made.
Well, mine's got to be a comedy, of course. I think one of my favourite, I was really like the Farrelly brothers growing up. So me, myself and Irene, I'll probably put the top. Dumb and Dumber, and There's Something About Mary. I really love comedies in general, and I like sort of quick, snappy dialogue, good premises, and conflict. And I guess, yeah, there's definitely a lot of that in this.
I would probably say Martin Scorsese movie like Casino and Goodfellas, which have like arguments happening very quickly and kind of like a kind of punchline in the actual film. So that kind of did help this film in terms of quick back and forth dialogue.
Yeah, for me, I guess what inspired me for this is probably Shawshank Redemption. That's one of my favourites.
I'm not the filmmaker, but
But in terms of character.
for me, it wasn't a film. It was more the message and the way it relates to a lot of people and to do with the relationships. So for me, it was more real life rather than being inspired from a film.
And to our filmmakers and creators, where those were films that helped inspire the projects, but where did the projects come from and how did they get started?
So Halfpenny Dip was originally just a sketch I had. I moved to Southend about 5 years ago, and most people know that Southend, the tide's only in for about an hour a day. And I looked out and I saw a sort of boat, stranded on the water, and I thought, oh, what if you did a bank robbery and that was your getaway vehicle and you mistimed it with the tide? So it started with this sketch idea, and then I sat down, went to the pub to write it, and 3 hours later I had a 10-page script with 4 characters and like a whole thing, and I was just like, oh, I've got to make this instead. So yeah, that was it.
Something similar to what Lauren was saying. I think this story was quite relatable. I think a lot of people have had these situations where they've been in a toxic relationship and have not been brave enough to kind of end it, because I've heard people who have been in 5-year relationships and kind of knew at year 3 that this is not going to work out, but for some reason stayed in that relationship. So part of the inspiration here was kind of like showing how quick you can actually escape that relationship and not take any rubbish from anyone. So I think that was a kind of idea I had, and then bringing this together with a kind of sharp dialogue was how I wanted to portray it.
And once you have your script ready and you're ready to start shooting and you're in the shooting process, was there anything that maybe happened on set that changed the direction of your stories a little bit, even just the slightest little bit? Was there anything that prompted a little bit of a change?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think just like in terms of the set, we were at Lauren's apartment, which was a nice apartment in Paddington, and really we had written the script and I knew the layout of the apartment, but I didn't know exactly where we were going to shoot it. So depending on the time of day, the light was coming in the huge windows in a certain way. So for us, I think it was more of how the fight starts on the chairs and then goes in the kitchen. If we turned that camera around, it could have started on the couch and ended up on the balcony. It just really depended on the set we had. And I think that's the only thing that we had to kind of improvise on the day. Like, where do we actually take the start of the argument to the end of the argument? And as you can see, when Lauren went downstairs, it was quite dark down there, so we couldn't really film there. So it was a nice place for Lauren to kind of disappear into.
Nice. And for Hope Need It, the opening sequence when they're running around with the money, I had genuinely no idea how to shoot that. So we were just we sort of found a series of alleyways, and also you're running around with people in balaclavas with money in bags. So you've got to find places that are sort of out of the way but also look like busy streets. But we managed to find like a series of sort of back alleys near Shrewsbury Ness that kind of worked near a car park. And yeah, actually the DOP and the directors were really good on that, because they were like, you just got to collect as many different shots as possible, and then kind of put them together at the end. Someone came in with a really good one, which was the running down the alley and then turning right out of the alley at the end. Gives you kind of an exit, because otherwise you're just doing like loads of runs. So like this idea of like an exit onto something, and I love that shot because it works so well. And that was just an inspired moment from one of the crew.
And for our actress, quite an intense piece, quite a place to get your head into. How did you approach this role, and how was the collaborative process with your director as well?
Well, I'll start with the collaborative process, because I mean we've worked on a short film before with these two, and I mean we've become friends as well, so it's really good to work with people who you already connect with and you work well with, so you can easily bounce off ideas with, and we always have like a similar idea on things, and so they were great to work with, and it all came together really well and pretty smoothly. And yeah, to get into the headspace, I mean, as a woman, like I know a lot of women who have been through toxic relationships, not just women, men as well. And I mean, I've been through toxic situationships and relationships, and so I just drew from that place, really. So Sophie got cheated on, but I've never actually got cheated on, so I couldn't really come from that place. But, I mean, I've been in, obviously, like, situations, toxic situations, and, yeah, so I just drew from that place, and thinking of all my, like, some people I know that have been in those situations, so I drew from that as well. And, yeah, it's funny because I'm such a, like, people that know me know I'm very chill, and I'm not an angry person at all. So it was so funny, someone actually, like, commented saying, wow, I've never seen that side of you, and remind me never to get on your bad side. So yeah, it's funny, people that know me very chill, and then they see that side of me, they're like, wow.
And how was it for you to make sure you kind of got her into that space, make sure you got the right performance?
Lauren is a great actress, so it wasn't too hard to kind of get her into that. But we discussed, I mean, we looked at the script a few weeks before actually kind of doing it. We were thinking about, look, there's a lot of swearing in it. We wanted it to be raw, right? So we wanted it to be quite realistic. And so there was a lot of like kind of intensity in it and a lot of like swearing. And we were like, should we take that out? Because it, you know, might just stop us getting into film festivals, because I don't know how they treat like sort of like swearing and stuff. In that case, that's why I got in. But yeah, so we did discuss it quite a lot, and we came at it from different angles, and we came to an agreement eventually. Like, so on the day we definitely knew how we were going to do it. And Sam, Lauren's co-actor there, couldn't be here today. He's in Austria, but he was also very like malleable. Like, we could definitely kind of work off him as well. Lauren could work off him, and actually Sam and Lauren are both Australian, right? And they're playing American, so the accent thing was a thing as well. It was just make sure that we have genuine accents, and make sure we have like we can actually like bring it across in that way.
And talking about some of our favourite things, Hate Me Dip has got David Streams in it. Somewhat of a loose cannon, as we know, because he's a festival favourite. What was it like working with him, collaborating with him on this project?
Well, he's actually my father-in-law. So
I take back that loose cannon.
no, he is. It's totally fair. But yeah, no. So that's my father-in-law. My wife played Sandra as well. So when I wrote it, I had them in mind. Actually, no, that's not true. I had my wife in mind, and I had Frankie to play the other guy. I actually wanted someone younger to play Fox. I wanted like a young, scary dude. And I offered it to like quite a few people before David. And they all turned it down. And in the end, I was like, David, can you do it? And he was like, yeah, I'd love to. But yeah, and it wasn't awkward at all. It was fine. But he was great on set, and he absolutely smashed it. So I'm so glad it didn't go to anyone else, because he's just so good in it. And like he's just really fun to have on set as well. He's just really chill and calm, and especially with the comedy, like he just brings that energy that you need, and he just smashes every line and every take. He like hits the nail on the head. So it's just it's really nice to work opposite him.
Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be an awkward interviewer? It's me right now. Let's go back down the line again. And what's the one thing throughout making this movie that you feel like you maybe learnt about filmmaking, but also about yourself personally?
Well, I mean, do you want to take that one? Or?
Sorry, yeah, could you repeat the question again? Sorry.
So something you've learnt about filmmaking in the process of making this movie, but also something you've learnt about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been doing sort of filmmaking for a while. I was videoing for a while, and sort of delving into the filmmaking world is completely different into doing a wedding, for example, or doing sort of commercial projects. But yeah, I've learnt a lot. I've learnt a lot that you get to have a lot more creativity than filmmaking as well. You get to sort of exert your skills and showcase your ability in different ways. And yeah, it's just about growing really, and yeah, really taking the forefront of the project on and looking at things differently, and yeah, just putting your stamp on things. Really.
Nice.
Well, I learnt for this one just because I just found it was, because I was working with who have now become my friends, I found there was more freedom, and it's just a more relaxed environment, and yeah, so I liked that aspect of it. And what was the other question?
Something you've learned about yourself.
About myself. That. I was thinking about that. Just.
We can move on if you want.
Yeah.
I've got one bit on that.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, so something I love about myself is during the whole process is not to be too hard on yourself and just let it go, and just, there'll be little mistakes that we'll see afterwards, and like someone said before, they sort of noticed that they had something else in the background of the shot. These things happen when it comes to filmmaking. You only see it when you get back into the editing stage of it, and then you see it on the screen. But yeah, it's just making things work right and working things around it. It's having a good variation of the shots and stuff.
So this is, I've co-produced something before, and I've written something before, but this is the first time I've produced solo and written something. Actually, I had a co-writer on this called John, who's brilliant, and that was really fun to bounce off. But it's my first time sort of on set, and I said to the directors, look, we've done loads of work on this beforehand, but I'm in this, so I've got to take my producer hat off and put my acting hat on, and let you guys take over. And then, which was fine, and they did a really, really great job. And then some sort of stuff started to go wrong, and then I kind of had to jump in and go, right, okay, everyone stop. I'm putting my producer hat back on. Let's go and have a chat about this. And there were some stories from this, which I'll tell you about in the bar if you come up to me. But at the end of the first day, I called my mate, who's also a director, and I was just like, look, all of this is happening, and there's all of this, and this. There's just like loads of craziness. And he was like, look, dude, your job is not to kind of take sides or get things right or like be arbiter of anything. Your job is to get this film finished and to get a group of people who don't know each other to work together to get your film over the line. He said, and he was like, look, I'm your best mate. I know you're good with people. If there's anyone who can do it, you can do it. And so I went kind of back into it, just kind of was like, right, let's make everyone a team, let's make everyone friends again. And it worked. And so I learned that, I learned loads on this, but that was one of the main things.
Just in terms of things we learn, I think obviously you always want more time on any short film that you're doing. You're always like, I heard someone say, I wish I had an extra day. That's always been the case with us. So we always want an extra day. I'm sure if we even had that extra day, we'd need an extra day on top of that. So I think, as I've made my short films, I've learned we've got better, right? In terms of the first short film, we thought was a 2-day shoot, but it should have been a 3-day shoot. But with our recent one, we planned a 3-day shoot and it finished in 2.5 days. So one thing I've learned over the process is kind of like how to manage time. Like obviously there's setup time, things go wrong, it starts raining. Like, do you have a plan B, a plan C? Mm-hmm. I think going into my first feature film soon, I think it's very important that I learned that now, because if it's a 20-day shoot and you're behind by like a day, that will add up. And by the time it's day 20, it's actually day 14, and then you're asking for more money, and then it just goes down the drain. So I think that was a good learning curve for us.
So I'm going to throw it out to the audience to see if there's any questions, but again, we don't have a microphone, so you will have to shout. Do we have anyone out there? No? Oh, go for it.
Directed to the bank heist film, do you think there'll be a part 2? Or carry?
There was, in my head, I do want to kind of see the feature-length version of this. Like, I want to see the bank robbery and all the rest of it. And I've sat down to write it a few times. So it's like getting there, but it's like really in pieces. You know, most people, you've written something, so you know it starts with these big chunks all the way over here, and eventually you kind of carve it out into what it should be. So possibly in the future, yes, maybe.
Got a quick one.
Go for it.
I can see the films made in the locations where you made them. Even if you got given a massive amount of money to go ahead and make your ideal dream film like you live here today, would you choose the same local location, or because you've got more money, would you think, do you know what, I'm going to go abroad, or I'm going to go to Scotland, or I'm going to go, you know?
It really depends on telling the story, so it depends on the script and if it allows for that. So that argument happening in a mansion, I think, wouldn't really help the story. It's more relatable if it's in an apartment, right? And so maybe we'd use a better camera, or we'd have more crew, just because more people sometimes makes everything happen quicker, right? So it was a small cast and crew here. So we'd probably use the extra money to just be more efficient rather than, hire a swankier apartment. That's what I would do.
I think I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying this, but I didn't have permissions to shoot in Southend, and a lot of people say shoot guerrilla in Southend for a number of reasons. The council aren't very happy. I don't think I'm the only person who would say that, or kind of knows that. Not very helpful with getting permits. It's a blanket, a lot of money, and if you haven't got a lot of money, it just doesn't make sense. But that did add quite a lot of paranoia. Shooting the exteriors. So if I had loads of money, it's inspired by the area, so I would have had to shoot it there, whatever. And the interiors were all in David Stream's house. So his his wife had to, my mother-in-law had to put up with that, and his Lily's brother as well, my brother-in-law. He had work the night before, and he works at a restaurant. And so he was asleep, and we all started shooting downstairs, and suddenly he's banging about upstairs. He's like, "What's going on there?" Oh, sorry. I wouldn't like to put them through that again.
So 2 last questions, but the first one is, what is next for everyone? We loved seeing your projects up there. We loved the fact that you submitted them to us and let us have them. But what are you working on next?
So I've got a short film that I've already written. I'd written it before this actually, and it's really easy to shoot. It's just 2 people on a bench, essentially talking about birds. It sounds better than it is. I'm planning to maybe shoot that this summer because it should be really short to shoot. God, I can't speak today. And then I've written another comedy which is going to take a bigger budget because it's about policemen. and balloons. But that one also is written. I just need to kind of work out how the hell I'm going to do it.
So we've made like 5 short films now. I think it's time for us to move to the feature film. So that's what we're trying to do now. And obviously, feature film it's a different animal. Like you need so much more funding, you need more characters, you need this and that. So we have a couple of projects. Like one script has been written. One I'm in early stages with another writer. So I think that process takes around 2 years. A feature film, it's not as quick as a short film. Like with The Last Straw, I think I wrote that, and within like 2-3 weeks we were filming it. It was a very isolated piece, so that was straightforward. One of the scripts I've got has like maybe 15 locations, so all of a sudden like planning that, I probably need a more experienced producer to help me out on actually doing that. So I think that's next for myself and me as well.
Anything else that you guys have on the horizon apart from those things?
Yeah, just working alongside AJ really, and like honing in his skills and just learning and just going through the process of getting better and better really.
And Lauren, you filmed a feature recently, haven't you?
I was a lead in a horror indie feature film that we filmed at the end of last year, and that'll be coming out this year. Don't have the details on when yet, so it could be towards the end of this year. It's called Archie, so keep an eye out.
We definitely will. The last question, and if you've seen any of my Q&As, you're going to love this. And I don't know how it's going to work with Last Straw, but we'll try. If you had to go back and reshoot one scene from your projects, however, you had to reshoot it as a musical number, what scene would you choose? What would the musical number be? It's a bit strange for your show.
It's a difficult one. I mean, Lauren, you can sing, right? So maybe you should answer this.
I've got one. I think I'd go for the scene where Fox has got the gun and he's having to go at him, and I do That's Not My Name. That's Not My Name. Okay, who's that by?
Ting Tings, isn't it?
Ting Tings. There you go. I do that.
We showed
that.
We showed our age.
Definitely showed our age.
I mean, I love Moulin Rouge. There could be a Moulin Rouge vibe in The Last Straw, possibly one of the songs. It's so short, so like the whole short could be.
As you storm off down the stairs, you kind of like,
Yeah, it's like I could just like slide down the stairs. Can you think of anything?
I can't think of anything really.
Excellent. Thank you guys for submitting your movie to our festival. Thank you so much for letting us show it on the big screen, but most of all, thank you for being here and doing this with us today and just being at the fest.
Thank you.
Can we get a round of applause, please?